Good afternoon! Hey! Happy Friday, everybody. Weird week. Doesn't feel like Friday.
No, so much so that I forgot to put out the trash cans this morning, and shout out my wife for doing that.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Did not know the days.
This happens with
lot.
you with trash cans often.
Days.
Like, trash day is a tough day for you.
Well,
it shouldn't be if it's a Friday.
I
It should
know.
be the easiest day ever.
Well, it wasn't Friday in my brain when I got home yesterday.
Yeah, it's not.
Because
It's a weird
I do it
feeling.
the night before, is when I do it.
Absolutely, as you should,
Yeah.
because nobody wants the cans being drug out early in the morning.
No,
you
nobody
know,
wants to hear that.
no, it's loud.
Yeah.
It's loud, but I understand sometimes you have to do it. But at the same time, the dragging of the cans is very loud, very disruptive. Very disruptive. So yeah, you got to do it the night before. You have to take that trash out the night before.
Yeah, do they have to have plastic wheels on there? Because that's what makes it loud.
No, what would you rather? You want some like nice rubber wheels on there?
It doesn't have to be nice rubber, just,
But it's a garbage can.
right.
You know, we should be lucky that we have wheels on them at all.
Unlike the old metal ones.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
where you're just like picking it up and lugging it all the way over, or then you're really just dragging it, and
Yeah,
that's really
That's
loud.
really loud.
Yeah, we should just thank our overlords at Waste Management.
I'm
Yeah,
not
no.
doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not
See?
going there.
See?
I'm not going there. I'm not
See?
doing
The
that.
only good thing Waste Management has going for them is the old Waste Management Open.
True.
Well, and the fact they pick up our garbage.
Do they?
Yeah.
And they charge me extra if that stupid can is like an inch open.
That is, that really bothers
That
me.
grinds my gears.
That really bothers me. I think that maybe says something about your relationship with your garbage man, too. I don't know who mine is. I think
don't
my
know who
kid
his-
has a way better relationship with the garbage man than I do, because every time that, like, my son will be outside and the garbage man comes, like if later in the day, we're later in the rotation,
Mhm.
he's just sitting there like, honk the horn! Honk it! You know, and the guy's like, this isn't a semi truck. I don't have like the big one. He's like, just honk. I don't care. Like, just entertain me. Honk that horn, pal. You got a job to do, and it's entertain me out here. I have no idea who my garbage man is. I feel like back in the day, we used to know who our mailman was, who our garbage man was. I don't know either of them. In fact, we have 2 different mail people that come through our neighborhood now.
We have multiple, and I had to set one straight.
That's shocking.
Well, here's the thing.
Danny
It
got
ta-
upset about something.
No,
Was
look,
it a
look.
14-year-old girl that you
Yeah.
made cry?
No, she was at least 18. Stop. But during COVID, so weird thing is my neighborhood doesn't have sidewalks everywhere. It's
Yeah.
an old neighborhood, so it doesn't have like in front of my house, the east-west sidewalk
'Kay.
is there. On the outside of my house, because I live on a corner, the right side does not have a sidewalk.
Mm.
And when we first moved in the house, the front yard was still okay before that 115-degree heat came in and basically killed my entire yard
Ooh.
forever.
The heat dome.
Oh God,
The heat
I
dome.
haven't been able to get my grass entirely green since then. It's just
Really?
yeah,
You need to get that. You need to get that lawn in check.
I know, but I noticed, and we had a nice yard the first like year and a half, 2 years, and I noticed this path being worn through the middle of my yard.
Oh.
And I was like, huh. And my wife, who worked at home, was like, yeah, I looked the other day and I saw our mailman walking through the yard.
Oh, wait, and that made a path just once a day?
Just back and forth. Oh, this is like over like the course of like 6 months.
What in the world is this? Yeah, I know, but one time per day does that to your yard?
I don't know. But like there was like a yellow path through the middle of the yard.
Was he peeing as he was walking?
I
through your
guess.
yard?
I don't know. But like just walking,
Marking his territory.
just walking the same path every single time.
This is my path.
I mean, every day.
Wow.
But I was like, hey, man. And I wasn't like a jerk about it. I was like, can you just like walk around? Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but like, see the path?
Yeah.
That's from you.
I would love to see the replay
I was
review.
on.
I would love to see the replay review of your life. You know how we have like that commercial where they had the challenge
Red flag,
flag?
yeah.
The challenge flag of those situations, because you're like, I wasn't being a jerk. I would love to see like the
No.
ring camera of you being like, hey,
No.
listen here, a-hole.
No,
And it's like, well, I wasn't being a jerk at all.
No, when I'm over the top. Look, I told you I made an 18-year-old girl break down in tears. Why would I hide the fact
I bet
that
she was
shoot,
16.
that
I bet she was
that I
16.
shoot out my mailman? Like, why?
Because you respect people in uniform. You know you should respect the people in
No,
uniform.
No. And not only
Mailman's
that,
not a person in uniform.
no, but only
Dang.
that, I've noticed a lot of male people lately not wearing the traditional, the blue shorts, high crew sock.
Really?
Yeah,
We're not doing that anymore?
No, I've noticed a change in the uniform. I don't know what the uniform standards are going on. I do know that the Air Force relaxed theirs a bunch over the last couple of years, and they just put out the new uniform guidelines, reining it all back. So I think we got a little too lax post-COVID on some stuff, and now we got to the government officials are
cinch
putting their
down
foot
a little
down.
bit.
Yeah, no, it's a little
It's
bit of a
always
problem.
like weird. The Amazon drivers that'll show up in their just like
Regular
their normal
car?
and
Yeah.
you're like, what are you doing?
The one that
are you a porch
stops.
pirate? Or are you delivering this to me? Did you steal that from my neighbor's porch and then bring it over to mine? What's happening here?
The main road that goes through our neighborhood doesn't have a curb. It's like one of those ones that just it's just there. And the Amazon drivers that are in the car will just stop
No.
on the road and like put their hazards on. It's like, no, come on, man. Like, because it's a tiny
Where were they
little
supposed to
road.
go?
Well, it's like, drive on the grass. Like,
Wait, but
No.
So the Amazon driver can drive on the grass, but the mailman can't walk on the
I'm talking
grass?
about, like, there's like the
It looks
sidewalk.
like you're being Amazon
No.
elitist here.
No,
It looks like you're favoring
No.
Amazon
There-
drivers.
that grass is all like the dead, like gravel grass. That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's the neighborhood's so old, we still have alleys. Like there's alleys through all the
makes
streets.
sense.
Yeah.
That makes
so
sense.
it's
a connecting dots here.
yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
an old, it's like 150-year-old neighborhood. It's dumb old.
We got a good idea for a bit here from the old Vancouver Ford text line. The Dexter opening music should play when Danny starts a story.
It really should. You need to pull
I'm gonna
that.
have to get that
we gotta
in.
pull that.
Yeah.
We gotta make this a thing here, because it's like nobody saw the mailman after that.
I did say we have multiple male people now.
The grass patch is luscious now, in the shape of a body.
It's weird. Where the path was, it's bright green. It's almost like there's been a ton of fertilizer put in there. No, our grass has gone to hell. Ever since that heat dome, it fried my grass, man.
A lot of people are in that. You know what industry got hit the hardest is the Christmas tree industry.
Yeah, because the trees died.
Yeah,
They're talking about in a cycle, and like, what is it? That was 2 years ago now.
We're this year we're gonna have no. It was during COVID. The heat dome was like during
2021, so it's 3 years ago?
during COVID. Yeah, so we're gonna have like, I think this might
It's
be
5
like
to
the
7
last
years.
year of bad Christmas trees, and then we get the good ones.
Well,
from what I've been told.
Well, no, that's not necessarily true, because it takes 5 to 7 years for them to become the Christmas trees. So,
Well, yeah, I know, but it was 5 years ago.
3 years ago.
Well, I thought it was in 2020. So
was 4.
we'll be kicking up on this.
Okay.
Circling back around.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I was saying, like, not only did it kill the ones that were
Yeah.
like kind of growing, but it also like the ones that couldn't like even start, like the whole cycle. So there's gonna be like
Yeah.
a year in there where we have like none.
Yeah, I think that's this year.
Oh.
I think that is this year.
You know who doesn't
the
care?
final year.
Fake tree guy.
See, no, don't do that.
Yep.
Don't. There's no. You shouldn't. That's not a party. That's not a joyous occasion.
Love
What
it.
are you talking
Spray
about?
a little pine,
Being
call it good.
No, you
Mhm.
animal.
Mhm.
Look, the holiday season is going down, cutting a damn tree down, putting it inside of your house, spiders and all, insects and all, having that sucker die in your living room, and then being like, well, what the hell are we going to do with this thing now? And then the Boy Scouts come up and they wrangle all your trees. Like, the holiday traditions must stand.
See, the only problem with the Boy Scouts picking up your tree is you got to have that sucker down by like New Year's.
I thought you were going to say the scout leader. But wait, that's a problem, is having the Christmas tree down by New Year's?
Yeah.
Nah. Ours is this year.
The 26th, it's down.
No, this year it was down by the time we left our house on Christmas Day to go to the in-laws house.
Good God.
It was boom, efficiency. Get that damn tree out of the
You
house.
took Christmas down on Christmas?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we weren't going to be there for
You're
a few
the
days.
actual monster.
We weren't going to be there for a few days. So it was like, might as well do it now.
I mean, I guess that's
We had-
acceptable.
We had some downtime. We had about an hour before we left. And look, when my wife gets it in her mind that something is going to happen, okay, here we go.
That might be your first exhibit of true serial killer behavior.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I'll get you. Every now and then. Every now and then. All right. We got some news. You want to hear the news?
Yeah.
News du jour.
Yeah.
The 10th annual Fan Golf Classic brought to you by Autotown GMC.
Hey.
Thursday, July 11th, out at Langdon Farms. We are going to party with the party people.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
buddy.
That's not news.
No.
No.
The shows have been canceled that day, which means all 3 shows
Booze
that day.
Cruise.
No, you have to be. No.
No.
You need to you need to sit down with the bosses because it was pretty explicit that you will not be fall over drunk, Danny.
I was
No, it was like specifically like
I was standing. I was totally fine.
Were they pointing right at Danny and Sook?
No, it was and I feel like I was saddled with being your babysitter. But you will not be that. But what is going to happen is Dirt and Sprague, you and I, Isaac and Sook, we will be roaming around the course throughout the entirety of the day. 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., we are going full tilt boogie all day long, going around, taking shots and shots with you guys. Danny less than others.
Oh,
lightweight.
no. Danny
But
brought to you by
we
tequila.
will... Dear Lord. You're like a child.
I do
Like,
this
you
once
just-
a year.
You don't have the ability to just be like, you know what? Let's use a little bit of decorum here.
No.
Let's have a little bit of maturity here. You're just like, no, I'm going to be drunkest guy at the party.
Danny's
Yes.
going to be wandering around the golf course going,
What about Virginia?
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. I don't drink that often.
But what we will have here is we're going to be roaming around. We will all be taking our turns at the Doers par 3 sixth hole.
Par 6 for me.
And we will be hanging out and moving around the course all throughout the day. Again, Matt's Barbecue is going to be there. Victorico is going to have breakfast burritos for the morning crew. We have a handful of spots still available for the morning round, but it is not going to be just the radio shows going on. You kind of look at us like you're in the zoo, like we're in the zoo.
And we
and
just
you're
kind of
like,
wave to you like I'm on air.
I'm not sure if I can come up. No, we're going to be making the rounds. It's going to be a hell of a day. So if you have not done it now, go to 1080thefan.com. Sign up now for the 10th Annual Fan Golf Classic. Brought to you by Autotown GMC. Woo! I saw a hole-in-one yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah, went out golfing.
did you?
Yeah.
Oh, in your group?
Yes. My dear friend Trask,
Oh.
we were at
His
Pumpkin
first?
Ridge, and it was just 2 of us. We joined up with the guy John, who's moving tomorrow to Arizona. He's like, this is my last round I'm ever going to be playing in the state of Oregon. I wanted to make sure I got out to Pumpkin again one time. So we joined up with him on the 4th hole, and it was a really good hole. We all parred the hole. It was like,
Nice.
oh, wow, hey, things are going well. We get to the 5th hole in 161-yard par 3, and my buddy hits a beauty high arcer 7-iron, hits at 158, and just bloop. And we were
Just
sitting there
falls in the
going,
cup.
we go, I don't see it. I can't tell because the shadow of the pin was right down the line, and it kind of disappeared after it bounced. We were like, I don't know if he got it. I think it went in. I think it went in. And then as we're driving up, we're sitting there and we're going, oh my God, it's in. It's in. So we do the video, we get the photos, all that stuff. He had a hole-in-one. It was awesome.
Is that his first?
Yes.
Okay.
First hole-in-one.
Nice.
The energy so high. So high. And we're driving off to the next hole, and I go, dude, this guy probably thinks you're a really good golfer. You just went par hole-in-one. Like, that's the only golf this guy
Snowman's
knows.
next hole.
He tripled the next hole. Actually, I will say this: the energy was so high, we all tripled the next hole.
Nice.
The 6th hole, all of us tripled. It was
Just-
just like, how do you come down from that?
just crashing back down to earth.
Yeah. It was just like, and me and the other guy, John, we got it back on the rails by the 7th hole. My buddy, though, he went triple. It was just like the high was way too high, you know? And he's like, now I'm playing like crap. I was like, dude, you hit a hole in one. Like, it's totally okay. Whatever you do on the rest of this round, you are okay. But it was just like the rush of adrenaline goes so high. Like, how do you come back down from that? It took him a few holes, and especially when he had to buy us all drinks at the turn. That's when he settled back in, finished off a great round. But the juice that you get, I've been thinking about that hole in one now since about 5:15 yesterday. When it sank, from then on, I have not stopped thinking about how cool that was. It's one of like the coolest things that you can do is
I've
hit
never
a hole
seen
in
one.
one. Like,
Not like been on the course
Yeah.
for one.
the only other hole in one I was around for, I was playing in the group behind. We were in college, and my brother, we all got paired with like a group of boosters at this golf club
Mhm.
at the golf tournament, and there was a $10,000 hole in one hole,
Ooh.
and my brother hit a hole in one on it in the group in front of us. Since he played, he could not get the $10,000 since he was an athlete. Could not get the $10,000.
God.
Got nothing from the clubhouse. Got nothing for his
Wow.
hole in one. Got nothing for his hole in one. And then he went back like the next day and was like, talking to the person in the clubhouse, and they're like, I mean, that's you got nothing out of that. And so they gave him a golf glove. The next day, got nothing for his hole in one. Couldn't even he couldn't get drinks bought for him. He couldn't buy drinks because we were broke college kids. He couldn't buy drinks for anybody. And like his hole in one was like the
Ruined.
saddest
Yeah.
hole in one ever, but still super exciting because he hit a hole in one, but got nothing out of the deal.
That's terrible.
Isn't it?
That's awful.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah. It was like, dude, it was awesome. And he should have gotten a lot of money out of it. But nope, nothing. Zip, zero, zilch. That sucked. All right. Should we get the show on the road? So congratulations, Trask. Congratulations. And my favorite part of the whole day was his name is Trask, which is hard to remember. It's a unique name, The guy
like the river.
Yeah, the Trask River. Exactly. The guy we were playing with called him Trax the whole day.
Trax?
Trax.
Yeah.
And it was it was just like, dude, he's like, dude, Trax, that was a sweet hole in one. I was like,
He probably also says asterisk.
I loved
Asterix.
it. My favorite part though was that it was just like, yeah, it's a difficult name if you've never heard it before. I've known you like my whole life,
Hey,
know?
Trax, can I ask you a question?
But he probably just misheard it and was just like, I'm just gonna roll with it.
Or he's like Suk and he can't say golf without saying golf.
Ooh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Or Pello.
Or Pello.
Pello is another one.
Yeah.
It's Sukism. All right. Let's get this show on the road, shall we? It's a Friday. It's going to get a little unhinged, get a little sideways on us. We do have a lot that we need to get to. We have fun with audio, serious audio. We have the Twitter beef we didn't know we needed, but we got it today. If you would have asked me, never would have put this one together. I would have never in a million years said, you know what? These are the two guys that are going to argue on Twitter on Friday, June 21st, 2024, year of our Lord. And then Sam Presti's rubbing it in to all the dejected Chicago Bulls fans. It's a feisty show already. We got some college football that we need to get to. Sweet show lined up for you. But where we got to start this bad boy off, look, movement in the NBA, a surprising signing in the free agent market. It may change things as a landscape as a whole. Here we are less than a week out from the NBA draft. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Look at you tapping the roof over there.
I am. It's Yacht Rock Friday.
George Benson does it to you.
Jeff Rust is over here just vibing.
It's my jam.
All right. Malik Monk signed a big deal last night
He did.
with the Sacramento Kings. He's staying in Sacktown, which is a bit of a surprise.
Bit of a surprise. I heard as much as 2 days ago it was still a coin toss.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Landed tails. Tails never fails.
tails never fails, baby. We're going heads and we're gonna win. I think it's a great move. I'm happy for Malik Monk. He was a high level lottery pick that floundered out in Charlotte and had to go do the redemption tour in LA. Found a spot where him and De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis are all really tight. Mike Brown has been great for those guys. I always want to see guys take the most money. I do, because you just have a limited earning window. But I also like when people realize they're in the right spot for them.
Appreciating the environment you're in.
Yeah, and he could have, to be clear, Malik Monk absolutely, unequivocally, without hesitation, could have gotten more money than he got in this deal.
But I also think that start in Charlotte makes him appreciate stability in Sacramento that much more. And Mike Brown has done an amazing job. Mike Brown got a raw deal.
They nickel and dimed him on his contract. This was hilarious.
He got a raw deal in Cleveland. He gets a raw deal in Sacramento. He's one of those guys that you sit there and you're like, everywhere he's been has been successful, though.
Yeah.
Think about that.
He's a good coach.
He was at the Golden State Warriors prior to taking over the Sacramento Kings as an assistant to Steve Kerr. But his track record and level of success, he's been fantastic, and he's obviously maximized the group that he has together there. And look, if you're talking about how championships are won, it is with guys like Malik Monk staying for less money and appreciating the environment that he's in.
Yeah, and
I don't think that Sacramento is going to win a championship.
Isn't that the max he could sign, though?
No, that's the max he could sign for in Sacramento.
Okay,
yes,
gotcha.
that is the max they could offer him.
Gotcha.
If he went the unrestricted free agent route, he would have gotten probably $23 to $26 million a year. He turned down some $7 to $8 million more a year.
Now, okay, maybe I'm a little bit slow here.
That's an evergreen comment,
right? Typically, though, can't you sign for more if you're staying with your team?
Yes, but because of where he was, the years of service with the team, and how all the CBA machinations worked out for him, he didn't have the ability to sign with them for longer on top of Sacramento's cap space issues.
Do they have bird rights to him?
They believe they had early bird, which is why he's limited to where he was at.
Okay.
So,
all right.
But the connection, if you want to draw it back to Portland, is Malik Monk, along with Klay Thompson, who are waiting to see if he stays in Golden State or not. But he's in his feelings right now about a lot. He's unfollowed all of the Warriors' social media, including Steph Curry's.
So dumb.
And deleted pictures of them and the celebrating the 2022 championship.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I'm saying he's in the full offseason in his feelings mode.
No.
Now, how much of it's
Clay?
Yeah,
Emo Clay's going to be a weird thing to go through.
How much of it is real? I don't know. But if Monk is off the table, if Clay is off the table, Portland Trailblazers, if they were planning on moving or talking about moving Anthony Simons or Malcolm Brogdon, they now have less suitors on the table. The value comes up a little bit. And 5 days before the NBA draft, you want to see those guys resign. You want to see Clay stay in Golden State. You want to see Malik Monk stay home. You want to see Zach LaVine traded somewhere that takes something else off. You want all of those guys to be off the table. So if you're going to move either Brogdon or Simons, either ahead of or during the NBA draft, you get the highest value possible.
I'll tell you what, that Zach LaVine smoke is getting heavier and heavier, man.
I mean,
and like smoke, the Chicago Bulls will choke on it.
Well,
they are going to.
They've already have
screw this thing up.
They already have. You want to know something disgusting?
I do.
They had an opportunity to trade.
See, we need the Dexter. We need the Dexter audio when he says something like that. Right there. You want to hear something disgusting?
Yeah,
Cue it.
Going into last. Oh, there you go. Going into last year, the Bulls had the opportunity.
Yeah.
To trade Zach LaVine for Jaden Ivey. and they turned it down.
Yeah, well,
Do you think they're getting Jaden? You think they're getting a young lottery pick?
I don't think they
prospect in return now. No, they are lucky to get a used ball rack at this point in time.
Wow.
I mean, Mo Harkless was traded by the Orlando Magic to the Portland Trailblazers for a protected top 55 second round pick, which is essentially a pick that will never convey. That's what that is. That's actually the same thing that the Blazers traded for Delano Banton. It's a pick that will never convey.
So Neil O'Shea did that.
Yeah, there you go. But the idea that Zach LaVine is going to return any kind of positive value is insane. Casey Johnson, who is at NBC Sports Chicago and has been covering the Bulls for 25 years, he's about as connected as it gets with the Bulls, has said that there's upwards of 15 different offers and machinations that the Bulls have tried to sell Zach LaVine to
Whoa.
Philadelphia, Sacramento, Utah, I think, and one other team.
Really?
They are trying to give him away at this point. They can't trade him.
I can see why. The contract
And the
is
injuries.
bloated. The injuries are piling up. Like, everything about Chicago right now
Is a disaster.
is careening into the side of the mountain. No matter how many videos the Ball family will put out about Lonzo and LaMelo getting back healthy. Still not seeing the LiAngelo ones.
Have you seen the LaMelo one of him driving the go-kart on the rooftop?
No. That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, there's a video of him, of somebody.
How do you get a golf cart on a rooftop?
It's it's a big like penthouse rooftop,
Yeah.
and there's like this putting green, fake grass surface, and he's just out there in a go-kart,
He's doing circles,
just
huh?
mobbing around.
Just Mario Kart.
And somebody's filming him across the street from like another penthouse hotel room or something like that.
And he's
It's
just
like-
doing it by himself for
Yeah.
fun?
and it's like,
You know what? There's
that's
worse
kind of what
things that you can do. I saw a mashup of that. I think it's like an autograph hound in Charlotte, but it's like a mashup of LaMelo Ball almost running autograph seekers over as he leaves the arena. It's just him being a terrible driver. So maybe he's just practicing. Maybe he's just learning how to navigate tight spaces where there may be pedestrians around. That's probably what he's doing, because it was a really long video too of him in all of his various vehicles almost running people over and just driving like a lunatic out of the Hornets arena.
yeah, was
So
he,
it's all-
was he
it all
driving the
tracks.
Cybertruck?
No, none of them were a Cybertruck.
Okay.
They were like I have no idea. They were fancy.
He has a
cars.
Cybertruck,
There was a lot.
unfortunately.
Cybertrucks look awful. Can we agree? He is just Mario Kart in that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Cybertrucks are ugly.
The other day, I actually saw 2 in one day.
Well, you're going to see.
Can
You're going to see one more in Oregon, as our poor Scoot Henderson has grabbed one.
He has a
He
Cybertruck.
just got it.
I instantly judged
They're
the
awful
driver.
They're awful looking.
They are. They're horrendous looking.
Like, do they know that? I mean, so I saw a great meme that says, the Cybertruck looks like the Azteca. Remember the Pontiac Azteca?
Yeah, but less cool.
Yeah.
But no, just made with only right angles. It was just like
There's nothing rounded on it at all.
In the side by side is jarring.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
it
you're
looks like the Walter White vehicle, the Pontiac Azteca, and it just is. I don't know why people like them.
No,
I honestly
I
I
don't
don't.
either.
And they're braking left and right.
Yeah, I mean the recalls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are endless.
By the way, it's the Pontiac Aztec. Azteca is the Mexican restaurant.
There you
That's
go,
right.
yeah.
Pontiac Aztec
With a K.
with a K.
With a K. That was when we were doing that.
Well, yeah. 'Cause,
Is there an Azteca open anymore?
yeah.
Didn't
No, the
used
one
to
in
be
Beaverton
one?
is
I
not
said
there
one
anymore.
in Beaverton's gone.
I think
Yeah.
they had one in Hillsborough. I don't know if that's gone.
I think
too.
that was the same
Azteca was great.
group. Yeah, great chips
Well,
and
yeah,
salsa.
it's all as. I don't think there's very many Azteca groups running around
No,
here.
I need the Husong and Larry's to come back. They had great chips and salsa too.
Don't they?
Well, nothing will ever
Vancouver?
beat the old Garcias on what was that, like Hall and Nimbus in Beaverton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
so
Sure.
it's a real turnover. Yeah, no, we lost our good Mexican sit down restaurants. Husong and Larry's was great because they had the guy with the the sombrero and the guitar that would come around
Hell yeah, they did.
and do like the full mariachi, but by himself.
That guy was
It
great.
was impressive.
Yeah, it really was.
Whether it didn't have to be your birthday, just come over and sing you a song.
We need more of that.
I would imagine he was probably rolling, probably tripping balls.
Or go hit Nona Amelia's on the weekends. You'll get the accordion guy.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, the I don't know if it's the same guy, but when I was in high school, over 20 years ago, it was a girl I went to high school with. It was her grandpa who did that.
I don't want to hear that. This is my 30th reunion.
You got that coming up?
Yeah.
Ben Crane going to be there?
Possibly. He was at number 20.
He's Beaverton's Ben Crane.
He was at number 20.
is he your class?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Are you kidding? Is it his class? The great Jeff Russ played little soccer.
I played soccer with him for like 4 or 5 years as a youth.
Little tyke soccer.
Yeah. The Zoomers.
Oh, that's what you guys were?
That's when we were the Zoomers.
Wow, now your kids are like, okay, boomer. And that is coming full circle in your life, Russ. That is full circle. All right.
So, yeah, it's important. Malik Monk signed, and it's actually leverage for Portland if they end up wanting to move one of their guards.
Well, and something that also may help the Portland Trailblazers out is actually that Josh Giddey trade yesterday.
Ooh.
Because now we see Chicago, and we talked about Zach LaVine, but what Sam Presti said coming out of that trade is absolutely bonkers, because he just rubbed it in the face of the Chicago Bulls organization and their fan base, how bad that trade was. That After Us with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 a month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on The Fan, the Mariners dropped 2 of 3 to the Guardians. They're now on to Miami for a 3-game set with the Marlins. George Kirby starting for Seattle, Trevor Rogers for Miami. 4:10 first pitch on Root Sports and ESPN Plus. The Mariners with an 8-game lead over the Astros in the AL West. In the NFL, Jordan Schultz reporting the Falcons and Michael Penix Jr. have agreed to terms on his rookie contract, 4 years, $22.88 million with a $13.46 million signing bonus. ESPN's Pete Thamel reporting Oklahoma and head coach Brent Venables have agreed to a new 6-year deal that includes a significant raise and 2 additional seasons. The deal does, though, require board approval. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reporting the Shack of Troutdale, Sun Center Drew Eubanks declining his $2.6 million player option and will become a free agent. Over on the ice, the Oilers looking to become just the 15 to force a Game 7 after going down 3-0 in the series, hosting the Panthers. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 4:30. Puck drops at 5 o'clock on ABC. Round 2 of the Travelers. And you've got Tom Kim, 13 under par. He is your leader. 2 strokes clear of Colin Morikawa and Akshay Bhatia. Xander Schauffele is 3 strokes off the pace at 10 under. Elsewhere, you got Tony Finau, 8 under par. Scotty Scheffler also at 8 under. Ricky Fowler, 7 under, and former Oregon Duck Wyndham Clark at 6 under par. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
One number does it all for contests and texting your favorite fan shows. The Vancouver Ford text line is 503-864-6FAN.
The Oregonian called Elk Ridge Golf Course the best Northwest golf course you've probably never heard of. In the heart of the Columbia River Gorge National Scenic Area. You won't find better views anywhere. And built on top of an old gravel quarry
can't let go.
All right, the Chicago Bulls seem like they are in sell mode. Sell. Yesterday it was the Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey trade.
Does it seem like that's what they're doing? Because I don't think anybody knows what the hell they're doing.
Right up. Yeah, I think it is. I think they're trying to, instead of going for a championship, they're going the harder route, is to see how close to 500 they can get without being over 500. How about that? How about that for the Chicago Bulls offseason plan? Because yesterday we had the Josh Giddey from Oklahoma City for Alex Caruso, straight up, single for single trade. We have the Zach LaVine rumors in the fact that there's still like, you know what? I think Lonzo Ball finally might be healthy. But yesterday, Thunder GM Sam Presti, I don't know, just dropped the hammer on the Chicago Bulls. Because when explaining the Josh Giddey trade, he mentioned that their conversations with Josh Giddey turned into inquiring about potential opportunities for him to play elsewhere after the Oklahoma City Thunder came to the conclusion that Giddey coming off the bench was the best option for the organization moving forward.
Well, it was pretty clear why, because he got played off the floor in the NBA playoffs, because we talked about this yesterday when the trade happened. It blew my mind because I don't care how much Chicago sits there and goes, Giddey was our guy. The fact that they came out of this trade without at least getting the number 12 overall pick in this draft, a draft that's not that great, and one that the Thunder really don't need.
From a team that they have so many picks, they
picks.
do not have enough roster spots coming up. We mentioned this yesterday. They have 4 first-round picks and a pick swap in next year's draft, the most loaded draft in the NBA in recent memory.
And none of them are going to be that high. So they're going to have to get off of those one way or the other.
How many? Okay, so how high can don't they own? Isn't one of those picks a Rockets pick? One of those next year's a Rockets pick, I believe.
Let me pull it up.
I believe they have a Rockets pick and the other ones are going to be very low.
So 2025, they have the Rockets or the Clippers. I expect
that's a pick swap.
Yes, I expect they'll probably swap with the Rockets.
Yeah,
to be fair, because they'll probably be worse than the Thunder. But I also expect the Rockets to be a team that surprises next year. I think they're going to try to land a big time trade piece.
Yeah,
I think there's a good chance Jimmy Butler is a guy that ends up in Houston. So,
and then they have Miami's, Phillies, and Utah's, which is top 10 protected.
Yes, and Miami's is lottery protected, and Phillies is top 6 protected.
Okay, so but next year in that draft, because of how much talent is in it, how much will, if they just say we will give you all 4 of our first round picks for one, how high do you think that they can climb from a team that has holes in it, or if they want to say we'll give you 3 of these picks, how high can we climb?
I think there's a difference between the NFL and the NBA, where in the NFL you can cobble together the volume of picks because you have a 53-man roster, where in the NBA one guy matters more. And I think in that draft, I don't think there's a team in the league that if they had a top 5 pick would trade that top 5 pick for a combination of 4.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. You're not getting into the top 10. Or you're not getting into the top 5. You might be able to climb into the top 10, though.
I'd probably draw the line right now at 7.
Yeah,
7 is you're not getting in there as of right now.
Yeah, that's crazy. They have to start unloading those picks because they do not have the roster spots available. They don't.
No,
and so
their entire team's young.
Everybody's like Sam Presti, genius. Well, what are you going to do when you don't have enough spots for the guys that you're going to be drafting? You'll be putting first-round picks next year into the G League?
Well, I mean, not just that. I mean, the picks start devaluing themselves because they have too many.
Oh,
that is a legitimate problem they have. Now, the ones at the very top of the draft, or if for whatever reason a team falters and they get a swap that's a lottery pick, that won't devalue itself. That one will still have value.
And they're eventually what they will do is start just kicking the can down the road and say,
we'll trade you
like
2 for 1.
Next year we'll get, we don't have enough roster spots. We'll trade you future first round picks in like 2026 and you can move into the first round in 2025, that stuff. But the fact that Presti is open and willing to just be like, yeah, we traded a 2-time all NBA defensive team performer in Alex Caruso. who is a great 3-and-D guy, maybe one of the best 3-and-D guys as a complete package in the entire NBA. For a guy that we had a conversation with and acknowledged, you're going to be coming off the bench for us moving forward. That makes that trade exponentially worse for the Chicago Bulls. Their fan base is freaking out.
Well, I mean,
now.
everyone is freaking out about it right now. I have yet to talk to anybody who in the league who's like, yeah, no, I can see what Chicago's doing. I've heard they really wanted Giddey, and it's like, okay, so Caruso's a guy who they could have had multiple first round picks for over the last couple of years. That's without a doubt, absolutely unequivocally true. They could have had multiple first round picks for him, and you traded him for Josh Giddey when Giddey's at his probably lowest value level. I don't. Every person I have talked to, scout, agent, exec, in the league over the past 18 hours, whatever it is, has all said the same thing. How the hell did you not come out with at least one first?
Crazy.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I've heard from a few people like, why can't Portland be the team that stumbles into this?
Do you know what team is now drawing the ire of Bulls fans? The Portland Trail Blazers.
Why?
Because there is a rumor in the Bulls little world that they want to move up to 7.
Mm-hmm.
Blazers own the 7th pick, and now they're saying we screwed up the Caruso trade, and we're going to have to give up something in return to move up to 7 in this draft with Portland, which I would be all for. Hey, Joe Cronin, do your thing. Fleece the Bulls. Yeah. They're open for fleecing right now. Let's go. Pull one over on them. Let's get something out of this deal.
If you think Patrick Williams is worth it, I'd do it, I think.
What do you mean?
He's got to get paid, though.
When's he going to get paid? Next year?
Next year. That makes it a little bit more dicey. But he's a guy that I've always really liked. Came out of the mutant factory in Florida State, like Jonathan Isaac and Scotty Barnes.
I don't know if I like that because they're not going to be in winning mode next year anyways, so...
No, man, but he's still...
You're going to have to pay him for down the road?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, good on you, Chicago Bulls. Sam Presti literally rubbed it in your face.
Yeah, to come out and say, yeah, no, he was going to be a bench guy for us anyways, we didn't really care, is wild behavior, even for Sam.
Yep. All right. Well, we got 2 things here. Choose your own adventure coming up next. The Twitter beef we didn't know we needed. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
The afternoon round of the 10th annual
Did not know we needed came to us this morning. Antonio Brown, of all people, versus Lane Kiffin.
Well, the first one's not surprising.
Antonio Brown tweeted, cracker of the day, hashtag CTESPN. And it was a picture of Joe Cox, backup quarterback at Georgia in 2008.
And why is that important?
Well, it's because Kelly Stafford, the wife of Matthew Stafford, went on a podcast and said that her and Matthew broke up while they were in college, and to make him jealous, this isn't a red flag, she ended up dating his backup quarterback, and it worked. And she told a story of how one night Matthew was waiting for her as in their dorm parking lot, and like got into a car, and she's like, "Get out of my car." He's like, "No, he's not right for you." And she's like, "It's working." That's red flag city.
I saw something where,
But they've been married for a really long time, so congrats to them.
I mean, maybe Matt likes a little bit of crazy
Love
or a
finds a way.
lot of crazy.
Yeah.
I've never been somebody who's like, yeah, I want to be married to somebody who plays games.
Yeah. But
That sounds terrible.
yeah, cracker of the day was Joe Cox, according to Antonio Brown's Twitter feed. And Lane Kiffin quote tweeted it with maybe, and it had like the thinking emoji. And that
Number one, Lane quote tweeting that is
yeah.
kind of hilarious.
It's Lane Kiffin. He's doing his thing. And then Antonio Brown quote tweeted that and said, "Coach STFU, shut the blank up." To which Lane Kiffin just tweeted a GIF, okay, with a clown emoji, and it has Antonio Brown running off the field without his pads off.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for Antonio's response here. But
Lane's really good at this. For those that aren't aware, he's a grade A troll. And I love that he has embraced being a grade A troll.
yeah, could you
Because
imagine any other college football coach doing this? The only other one that would do it is Prime. Man, because
Yeah.
Prime I got a lot of time when he's arguing with people who are like, dude, you ran off half your team this year because they didn't go to your son's rap concert after your spring game.
Trying to think of is there anybody else who Drinkowitz.
Yeah, he's too nerdy, I think,
You
but
think?
I could see
But
him.
that's I was trying to think of anybody else who could go down that line.
Yeah.
I don't think he's social media though. He'll do it in interviews.
Yeah.
That's where he'll do it.
Yeah, because he'll
talk,
be able to articulate.
Yeah,
it.
he'll
run his mouth.
He'll run his mouth and talk a whole heap of trash, and I love that about him.
But Lane Kiffin has restored order to his own life by just being him now.
Yeah, by being a troll and embracing it.
I like it.
No, I love it.
I'm here for Lane
Kiffin
Kiffin versus Antonio Brown.
The Kiffin Bowl
And we need
not happening is a problem. Because Lane would go, oh my God. His walkout uniform would be like a airplane pilot.
Yeah. And I think in that game, Lane Kiffin would run the exact same play over and over again if it just kept working.
Yeah.
He would just do the exact same play and be like, stop us.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Do it. I'm coming around to Lane Kiffin a lot.
I have a
more.
ton the last couple of years, man.
He's figured out
He just needs to
be
mature.
comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah.
And well, I don't think he's matured. He's arguing with Antonio Brown on the internet. And
Fair.
that's
well, maturation is knowing who you are.
bingo.
So,
and,
he's
and in that
matured.
way, he
Yeah.
has. Not in the general sense that most people would say.
No, he's still a 28-year-old, but he's like he stopped trying to pretend to not be the 28-year-old, and I'm okay with that.
And I just love when
He's genuine.
he trolls USC and when he trolls Tennessee. Anytime he is in the state of Tennessee or anytime he's in Southern California recruiting,
Picture of a tarmac.
he will do the tarmac. He will take pictures of license plates
Mm-hmm.
in Tennessee, just being like, I'm back. It is perfect. And I love every bit of
great.
it because that dude stepped in it again and again as he was the young, hot, smart coach
Mm-hmm.
in all of football, NFL or college. And he kept couldn't get out of his own way. Now he's like, you know what? I don't care what anybody thinks.
Just give me me.
I'm just going to be me and I'm going to do
perfect.
my damn thing. So Lane Kiffin versus Antonio Brown. Give me more, inject it in my veins. I want it all day and twice on Sunday. All right, 503-864-6326. That is the Vancouver Ford text line. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. You can visit them online at vancouverford.com. Is the greatness of Michael Jordan manufactured in overblown?
Oh.
Next on The Fan. All right, hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Friday afternoon in the Rose City. Thank you for being a part of our day, letting us be a part of yours, whether it's on 1080 AM, 99.5 HD2, the Odyssey app. 1080 The Fan is on twitch.tv and youtube.com/1080am The Fan. Party on, party people. Let's get it. A man named Alex Rooker is sullying the name of the greatest basketball player of all time.
Dun, 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 dun.
Alex Rooker is a person that nobody should know his name. Hell, he runs a Boys and Girls Club in Texas. But what he was formerly was a statistician in the National Basketball Association. He was an executive for the Philadelphia 76ers as well. And what he is doing now is unveiling what stat keepers did to help Michael Jordan have one of the most prolific years in NBA history on the defensive side of the ball and obtain a feat that is yet to be duplicated and has never been done before, which is be the NBA scoring leader and Defensive Player of the Year in the 1987-88 season.
Something that will never happen again because the effort it takes to do one or the other defeats the entirety of the other side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, could we see it with Wemby maybe? I don't know if he'll ever be a scoring champion though, because of the volume of 3-point shooters and guys like that.
And there will always be somebody who's hyper tuned to offense.
But what ended up happening in that 87-88 season is that Michael Jordan got. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Michael Jordan got really upset at the 86-87 season conclusion when he was not named to the NBA's all-defensive team. It was really grinding his gears that Michael Cooper got a ton of recognition for his prowess on the defensive end, but Mike did not get any. He got one Defensive Player of the Year vote in 86-87. And so as Tom Havastro, Portland Trailblazers broadcast, the
analytics expert?
Yeah. I was going to call him a guru, but expert.
That works.
I like it. He wrote a really long article on Yahoo today outlining what Alex Rooker said on the Pablo Torre podcast, Pablo Finds Out. Because Rooker went on there and he just basically unloaded that, look, padding the stats at home was commonplace for the home stat keeper to make sure his guys got favorable stats in the 80s and 90s.
Even before that, Bob Ryan, who worked at the Boston Globe forever.
And around the horn.
He highlighted how, even back in the day, that between Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, they're the only guys basically that have 40 rebound games. And they have all of them, basically all the stats were charted at home. And both teams would accuse the other of cooking the books in favor of their guy, which is why some of the records around both those guys, like their numbers are crazy. It's also like, they're probably also not real. Because there wasn't computers, there wasn't cameras. The only documented stuff is, hand-eye, pen type stuff.
And when I say most games, 99% of games weren't televised.
No.
So there was no way of going back and checking. Well,
we can do that with the
87-88 season. And they did.
Yeah, and there's been a real discrepancy. Haberstroh points out the home-road splits.
Which, by the way, that season, Michael Jordan, it was unbelievable in that year. In fact, he had, what was it? He averaged 3.5 steals and 3.7 steals per game and 1.6 blocks per game as a guard.
Yeah. As a guard.
As a guard.
He finished with 259 steals and 131 blocks.
All right, so the home road splits.
So at home, he had 165 steals. That's
of his 250.
That's more than 2 a game at just home. Meanwhile, his road steals were only 94. Only, quote unquote.
That's still a lot of steals.
It's a little more than one a game.
I think that the greatness of Michael Jordan, we all saw it with our own eyes. This does not tarnish the reputation of the great Michael Jordan, but it just shows you that these guys that when we look at it now, the greatness and the level of achieving, like, look, Russell Westbrook, you mentioned this in the break. Russell Westbrook is a great example.
Yeah, he had the
of
books
this.
cooked for him on assists and rebounds. Like, I think Haberstroh might have been the one who did this before, like 4 or 5 years ago, talking about the home road splits between Russell Westbrook's assists and rebounds. And not only that, you had Steven Adams, who was quite literally boxing out 2 or 3 people at a time so Russ could grab a rebound.
His stocks, so Jordan's stocks in that 87-88 season, according to Haberstroh, he went back and he looked at it. So stocks are steals, blocks combined. There was a 182% difference between being at home and on the road.
At home, he averaged 5.5, so his combined blocks and rebounds. On the road, he averaged 3. 3 is still really good. Still really good. But it's the highest number that they can account for. The next closest is Mark Eaton, who the 7'4" mountain of a man for the Utah Jazz, who wasn't getting steals, he was getting blocks.
Like, and when I think of this, in the grand scheme of things, will anybody think less of Jordan in this?
I don't think so, but I think if you're paying attention, you also, it's funny. You look at the years in here: 87-88 for Jordan, 88-89 for Mark Eaton, 85-86 for Alvin Robinson, 83-84 for Sidney Moncrief, 89-90 for Dennis Rodman. Huh, that's weird. Dennis Rodman and Michael Jordan in the same era, both on here. But you also see Ben Wallace pop up twice, 3 times: 04-05, 02-03, and 05-06. The cooked books for Ben Wallace is probably a little bit higher too, and it's a lot of times you will see this. This is a way. Look, if we say that the team was pushing that agenda, there's no way to prove that. The team was pushing the agenda, and it's not just the Bulls. It's been done across the board for everyone. Rookie of the year,
the
defensive player of the year. This is normal.
The one that I really think about is it truly is. It's one of the untouchable stats. It's a really hard one. John Stockton's assist record.
It'll never be broken. Never. It's Cal Ripken's consecutive games played.
Well, he's got the steals record too, right?
I would love to see, like, if somebody went down and the next deep dive is this Stockton assist record, because it is so untouchable and so crazy that when you think of how hard that would be, now we all know that it was commonplace, and it was something that basically every stat keeper, they understood and they knew that, yeah, you're going to get that benefit of the doubt. Just like in baseball, it does this too, right? With errors, and you'll have, like, they'll reward hits at home for, it probably should have been an error, and vice versa for the road team. They'll saddle a guy with an error in the field.
There's pushback on that, and also in the NBA too, that you can submit evidence to get things adjusted.
Oh, absolutely.
And guys will have double doubles or triple doubles taken away because the official reviewer will come through and go, "That's not a rebound. That's a team rebound."
They're trying to clean it up.
They are,
but you can't clean up the history books at this point.
No,
and that is kind of like the whole idea behind these reviews is that, look, we're still seeing greatness on the floor, but I don't know if we'll ever touch some of these old records because of the way business was conducted.
Stockton not only led the NBA, he was at above 11 assists a game for 9 straight years. Whoa. 9 straight years he led the league in assists. 13.8, 13.6, 14.5, 14.2, 13.7, 12, 12.6, 12.3, 11.2, 10.5. So he had 10 straight years of double-digit assists. The lowest assist number he had was his rookie year at 5.1. Other than that, he never dropped below 7.
But he also has a lead of about 600 steals over Jason Kidd, who's number 2, and over 600 who over third place Chris Paul.
What I think though is incredible is, like, whether you were watching Stockton or you're watching Jordan or Ben Wallace, even when you brought up Ben Wallace, like, you knew that those guys were elite at what they did. No matter if the stats were padded behind them, like, you could watch them, and their impact on the game was always there. It's interesting though. It became an art. It became an art to, how do we slide in another rebound or another steal or another assist in order to kind of buoy our guy up.
What's interesting about Ben Wallace is he only led the league in blocks once.
Look at you, little center.
once. You talk about his stocks, his combined blocks and steals. He only led the league in blocks once. Now, he did average over 3 blocks 3 straight years. For a 6'8" guy, that's pretty damn impressive.
In the land of the big men, where big men were actually utilized as
Kind of funny. They list him at 6'9"
block
on
centers.
his basketball reference.
That ain't true, boss.
It's like also like listing Dwight Howard at 7 foot. It's like Dwight was maybe 6'9", maybe 6'9".
Or Kevin Durant at 6'12".
Yeah, Kevin Durant being listed at 6'9" is always very funny. It's like, he's every bit of 7 foot, guys. LaMarcus never wanted to be called a 7-footer when he was enormous.
I know.
It was always a fun one.
I love the Kevin Garnett, though. That's why I said 6'12". Is Kevin Garnett was I want to be listed at 6'12" because 7-footers don't shoot threes.
Yeah.
He was like,
it's not a thing.
That's 7 feet, dude.
No.
That 12 inches means you go up to the next foot.
Yeah, this book cooking, the 87-88 Jordan season appears to be the most egregious by a pretty substantial margin.
But it was something he wanted to do. Like he was upset he wasn't getting the recognition as a defender because as Habistro outlines, 86-87 when they got swept by the Celtics in the first round, it was the narrative out of it was Jordan is only a scorer, he's not a defender. And he was, I believe that year he was second in the NBA in steals. And he was like, no, I'm a really good defender. So he wanted it to be known how good of a defender he was. And then we have the 87-88 season, which turned things on its head. And it's amazing to me, though, without that season, the lore of Michael Jordan, it was incredibly high after that because the dude never lost in the NBA Finals, right? Never even saw a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. Went 6-0 in Finals appearances and never played in a Game 7. But it's like that. You just go down his like Wikipedia accomplishments list and being the only person in NBA history to ever lead the league in scoring and be the defensive player of the year. It's one of those just solidifying the greatness that nobody else is ever going to be able to do.
The interesting one here is
he didn't need to do this in 87-88.
No.
He still would have been Michael Jordan and still been great.
Rucker, apparently this is not the first time that this has come out about Rucker and him fudging some stuff as far as stats. He is also notoriously a guy who was in on the Nick Van Exel 23 assist game. And there was somebody else out there in Lithuania who, back in like 2009, there was like a little scuttlebutt about this on the APBR metrics forum page. It was like the early birth of analytics.
I have no idea what you just said. It sounded like letter salad.
It is, but it was a basketball analytics, like early forum.
Oh, okay.
Back in 2009, he did a deep dive on this, and he found film of that game and was like, look, at best, you could give Nick Van Exel maybe 15 assists.
In that game?
Mm-hmm. Makes me wonder about the Scott Skiles game. Was it 30 assists?
Yeah.
I want to go back and watch the Scott Skiles game and see.
This is right up your alley, and I think you'd be really good at just shredding NBA
I'll tell you right now,
records that you are just like, nope, false,
Steve
fake.
Blake had 15 assists in the first quarter of a Blazers game. I want to say it was 2012. No.
You better watch out. Steve Blake will punch you in the face.
I love Steve. They gave him, and I'm not kidding, they gave him 4 assists. Like, it was nowhere even close. I remember being there with my dad and going, no way did he get that. No way. I mean, the ball had been passed 5 seconds ago. And I'm like, that's an assist.
How many dribbles? he passed the ball and he does like a sweep through and then
does the Carmelo Anthony triple threat for 8 seconds.
Turns his back to the basket, takes one dribble. Like, yeah, man, that seems like an assist to me. There's only one dribble.
It's tough.
Michael Jordan, no longer great.
Yep.
Is that what we got out
Cut
of
him
that?
down to the knees. Give him the old cotton. Take away his shins.
Still pretty damn special in my book.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead.
What
and
are
I'll
you
give him
without shins, Michael Jordan?
I would love to see the breakdown, though. I want to see him go deep dive into Stockton, like you said, the Scott Skiles 30 assist game. I would love to see kind of people going back now and in hashing through some of these records because, look, again, it doesn't change my view on Jordan, wouldn't on Stockton, Ben Wallace, anybody else, because when you watch them play, you knew you were watching greatness, but they got a little help as well. And I wonder how many records that we have in our record books that we regard and we hold in such high regard that are, for lack of a better term, fluffed up, right? They're manufactured in all of this. But Jordan, your 87-88 season's still historic. I'll give that one to you. 503-864-6326. That's the Vancouver Ford text line. Audio gold. We got a little fun with audio that we need to get to, because this guy is quickly rising up the board of relief pitchers you need to hear from. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. Relief pitchers in baseball are great. They are kind of dirtbags. They've got a lot of time on their hands. They get into a lot of shenanigans. They're just an all-around good time.
Mm-hmm.
Those bullpen guys are great. And Pete Fairbanks of the Tampa Bay Rays is one of my favorites right now. He's a big old flame-throwing righty, and he is also a quote machine. After a good or bad outing, remember earlier in the year, he gave us this little nuggie.
All-encompassing type of suck.
Well, he was at it again last night. He had 2 innings of work against the Minnesota Twins where he ended up actually picking up a win in the ballgame in a 7-6 victory in 10 innings. But in his 2 innings of work, he gave up 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, and it was a homer. Okay, one of his 2 hits deposited over the fence and a home run, which led Pete Fairbanks to give this amazing interview after the game.
First of all, let's start with the bottom of the 9th inning, that 3-run home run. Can you take us through that inning?
Well, I made him look really bad on 2 of them, and then he looked really good on the worst one of the 4 that I threw. I put it in the spot that you don't want to put it, and he didn't miss it, so hats off to him. I absolutely destroyed a few things in the cage and then regrouped, and we got it done. So I'll take a win.
Do we get to ask what you destroyed?
Elvis is shaking his head. It's nothing bad, Elvis.
Their PR guy.
Let's just say that I owe the Minnesota Twins visiting cage a new IKEA stool.
A new IKEA stool.
There needs to be a new stool. Not bar stool height, like one of the mini ones that like kids use. Yeah, it's not existent anymore. But, sometimes you got to get it all out to go out there and put up another 0.
You have heard these eruptions from the tunnel at Moda Center.
Oh, God.
There are times where things happen that we do not see. The little hallway cam that ESPN has, they choose not to show a lot
the
of
meltdown,
things.
unless it's really, really good.
They happen more often than people think.
Yeah, you're talking about the most hyper-competitive people on the planet.
I just would love, in my mind, Pete Fairbanks goes back there and just goes all Kenny Powers. Like, I hate this. You suck.
Just destroying everything.
Destroying this small stool in the batting cage underneath, was it Target Field in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Is that what they play? And just absolutely making it into just shards, and then some poor clubhouse attendant has to go through, walk in, and clean up. The thing that I do like, Fairbanks seems like a guy who's going to take care of that clubby. He's going to make sure he gives that clubhouse attendant maybe $100, $200 or something for cleaning up his mess after his childish meltdown. The awareness of Pete Fairbanks, I absolutely love, because when you have
all-encompassing type of suck,
then you have to own up to it. And God bless Pete Fairbanks for doing that.
He kind of reminds me of Brian Wilson, Giants.
Yeah, like a clean-shaven version of him.
Yeah, but I mean, like his mannerisms and how blunt he is with stuff, but also like the way he talks versus how he acts on the mound.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
Complete in bed, just like Brian Wilson did.
Well, I mean, just a complete lunatic.
No, nobody.
No.
Bare Naked Ladies song. Yeah. All right.
I wasn't gonna give you that one.
Maybe in 1 week.
Oh, God bless.
If I knew another Bare Naked Ladies song, I would drop that one too, but I don't.
$1,000 to anybody who actually knows.
Ooh,
that's a good one.
That's another one, huh? Yeah.
That's if I had $1 million. But
But he went cheap version.
Yeah.
He went radio version.
Well, cheap version, just like the Rays, right?
There you go. Hey.
Damn. I love blow ups. I think they're great.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
I think that may be one thing that we miss out on with robo-umps in baseball is managerial blow-ups.
Well, if you run out of challenges.
But I do think, like, if Lou Piniella or Bobby Cox had robo-umps in their time, they would have taken a bat to a camera somewhere. You know?
No, for sure.
Like, those guys are still going to be on-reel turds no matter where they are. And that's what we need more of in baseball.
Saw
we
Joe
don't have
Torre
enough.
at the game yesterday in about Alabama in the crowd. I was like, oh, he's still out around kicking it up, huh?
That old Rick Wood.
Yeah, at old Rickwood. We got to find a way to talk about that today because that was
We will.
a
Well,
hell of a show.
It was a hell of a show, and including Reggie Jackson's interview that he had on the Baseball Tonight set. Gut-wrenching stuff. And I ended up, I was watching a lot of the coverage leading up to that. And
Atmosphere is incredible.
With Willie Mays passing.
And his son.
It was absolutely, we will talk about that later. The Reggie Jackson audio, we will play for you. The conversation around Rickwood Stadium and what they had the Black Barons and the White Barons at a certain time, 100% worthy of a segment in a conversation around it. Yeah, for sure.
But coming up next, we have our worst day on the web. Maybe you should start hitting up some swap meets, see if you can find some military secrets. First, here's
wait, what?
Yeah, look at that. Here's the big goon himself with the Sports Center update.
That's that Hawaiian burger joint.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Laurelhurst Market Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. Grab your meat for grilling season and save 10% on your Butcher Shop order when you dine in. Menus at laurelhurstmarket.com. First on The Fan, the Mariners dropped 2 of 3 to the Guardians. They're now on to Miami for a 3-game set with the Marlins. George Kirby on the bump for Seattle. Trevor Rogers for the Fish. 4:10 first pitch on Root Sports and ESPN Plus. The Mariners with an 8-game lead over the Astros in the AL West. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reporting the Shack of Troutdale. Sun center Drew Eubanks declining his $2.6 million player option and will become a free agent. Over in college football, ESPN's Pete Thamel reporting Oklahoma and head coach Brent Venables have agreed to a new 6-year deal that includes a significant raise and 2 additional seasons. The deal does require board approval. It's the second round of the Travelers Championship from TPC River Highlands. And let's see here. Tom Kim at the top, 13 under par. He's 2 strokes clear of Colin Morikawa and Akshay Bhatia. 3 strokes back at 10 under are Xander Schauffele and Scotty Scheffler. Tony Finau coming in at 8 under par. Ricky Fowler at 7 under, and former Oregon Duck Wyndham Clark at 6 under par. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
It's time for a rooftop party in the Pearl. Join the Fan for our 2024 draft party at 10 Barrel Portland Pub on Wednesday, June 26th. More info at 1080thefan.com. It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Man, that sucks!
On today's worst day on the web, if you're a fan of the old swap meets, if you
Can't say I am.
no,
I think I've been to one swap meet when I was a kid.
What about going to like used books conventions or anything like that? You a real book reader? No,
What about me says I read books?
that's fair.
I've actually read more books in the last year than I have in my life.
I just got me Ian Carmel's book,
There
the
you
old
go.
T-shirt swim club.
Yeah,
There you go.
I'm
I like
ordering
it.
that one. I that is one I'm going to order, and I need to have Ian sign that bad boy.
Yeah, well, I ordered mine a long time ago. I pre-ordered it. Why haven't I gotten it yet? What the hell?
Don't worry
Ian?
about that.
Anyways,
Maybe because your mailman is like, screw this guy. He doesn't let me
Walk
walk
on
on
his
his
grass?
lawn anymore.
I think that's fair.
So he took your book.
Rude. Maybe he just likes Ian Carmel a lot. I'm obviously I'm a veteran, but also I'm a military history buff.
Yes.
I
Shane Gillis would say, you are Republican.
yes.
That bit is
If you
hilarious.
find yourself, just watching some war documentaries.
Especially military history. I'm a military history buff.
No, I mean I am. I went to war college, studied it through and through.
Yeah.
But I do love military history and like actual. It's so funny. I was talking to a friend of mine from the Air Force last night, and I brought up I have the actual tinfoil hat theory that I legitimately believe in. The number one is that the U.S. government killed General Patton
Oh,
because he was such a pain in the ass.
wow.
Yeah, I genuinely believe that. When you
Because his
actually-
was a car accident, right? A Jeep
car accident in the middle
Yeah.
of the night in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And World War II was done. Just saying, when you look at all of the things surrounding, it's like,
Tinfoil Danny,
Just
let's
saying,
go. All right.
That's my one, like, legitimate. My buddy goes, "What was your number two?" I go, "Aliens," but we know they're real now.
Yeah, we know those. I mean, we know those
So
are
it's
real.
like,
I mean, come on.
But getting to our worst day on the web, and I don't
Wait,
know.
what's number 3?
I'd have to think about that. I'd have to think about
I
that.
didn't know if you had like a top 5 list or we were going to have a countdown.
LBJ had JFK killed.
Okay.
I mean, if you said that there was a second shooter, I'm just saying,
Back and to the left.
This is the conspiracy corner with
There
Danny
you
and
go.
Dusty here.
Tightened it up a little bit. But no, in all seriousness, I don't know how much I believe this story. Again, if you want to go tinfoil hat,
Ooh, yes.
For those that aren't aware of my military background, I worked in military intelligence, so I'm pretty used to seeing what propaganda looks like. This reads like propaganda. The story itself is coming from Beijing, which in and of itself should make you question it because Chinese media is state controlled. But it starts out, a military history buff in China appears to have made an alarming discovery after picking up 4 discarded books for less than $1 at a neighborhood recycling station. They were confidential military documents. Okay, here's the thing. Confidential and classified military documents find their way into civilian hands far too often because people are dumb and people are easily bought. And where they end up is on Reddit or in video games, legitimately. And that's across the world. Like if you go and search across even the Edward Snowden stuff, it gets out there very easily. I've never heard of a story outside of the military and a military personnel returning proliferated documents that were classified, or not even classified, you could say confidential. There is a difference between classified and confidential, by the way. Confidential means, this probably shouldn't be out there. Classified means absolutely under no circumstance should this be out there. It's legitimately classified. But the country's Ministry of State Security told the story in a social media post. Let's go ahead and work our way through that.
Oh, boy.
The Ministry of State Security told the story in a social media post. That's for your media literacy right there. That's where the propaganda comes in. Praising the retired man for calling a hotline to report that incident. It only reported him and identified him by his family name, Zhang, which I don't know if you know this in China. That family name is a lot like Smith.
Okay, I have no idea.
So, and did not say what the documents were about. It says, Mr. Zhang thought to himself that he had bought the country's military secrets and brought them home, the Post reads. But if someone with ulterior motives were to buy them, the consequences would be unimaginable.
Ooh.
This, again, reads like propaganda. It's still funny, and also wouldn't be surprising at all if the reason that the Chinese government, Chinese state media would be saying this is because there was a document leak somewhere and they haven't been recovered. And this is a way to basically put out the word of, hey, if you happen to come across these, be a good citizen and return them to the Chinese government.
Or you're going to die.
Do you know, what's his name? Uncle Roger, the comedian?
No. No idea.
He's
Uncle Roger,
he's Chinese. He has there's a bit in his stand up where he asks where somebody in the crowd is from, and they say they're from originally from Guangzhou, China, and he's like, China's always listening. President Xi, #1. It taps to his phone. He's like, social credit score going up. That kind of deal. And it's like, this is a lot of that kind of tuning. So again, I don't know how much of this I believe, as opposed to this is maybe more the groundwork for something else.
Yeah, I kind of like, as I'm thinking through this, like, I don't know what I would do if I came across like classified documents. I wouldn't even know where to begin on like, do you Google what to do with classified documents? Because number one in my brain goes to, I don't trust anything I'm going to find in a Google search here.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
What do I do?
You start Google searching the wrong things.
Yeah, right. And then they're gonna.
You might get a knock at the door.
Yeah, be like, "Hello, sir. I see you have Google searched what to do with classified documents." I was like, I hear. Take it, man.
The report here comes to their own conclusion. It says the campaign seems designed to raise awareness of the importance of national security at a time with confrontation with the U.S. is rising, and both countries are increasingly worried about the possible theft or transfer of confidential and secret information. The country arrested, and I believe they have now prosecuted 2 former Air Force airmen who were colluding with Chinese intelligence services. They are going to Leavenworth forever.
Spies are real.
They are absolutely, like, one of the things that we get taught is how to not put yourself in compromising positions so that you can't be compromised by foreign intelligence services, because that's exactly what they're looking for.
So,
otherwise known as honeypotting.
How many times were you compromised?
Never to that level.
I mean,
never to that level.
Not even the night in the German jail?
No, it was good because everybody knew about it. What's one? You say the German jail like that's the only foreign jail I've been in.
Dear God. Dexter. Where's our Dexter? Where's our Dexter music? We need. Yeah. All right. Go ahead. Tell us.
Not all of them are common in public knowledge, but I mean, my command structure knows about. I think they knew about all of them. I'm trying to think. Was there ever one
that's where honesty is the best policy? Like, hey, by the way, did something. Just want you to know, not compromised, because you guys are well aware of this. Need a little help here.
Yeah, no. That's the thing. Is like, you make it well known that happened. I'm trying to think. I can't think of a single time where something happened in a foreign country that they never knew. Where a police presence may or may not have been involved.
Yeah.
And I think I'm clear there. So no compromisation.
Yeah, I mean, I just live by the credo of never know anything important enough that somebody else will blackmail you for.
It's true.
I mean, that's kind of that's my life motto that I go by. Be unblackmailable.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my head in the sand.
Super helpful. Super helpful. So there you go. There's your worst day on the web.
Dude, what a book
Chinese
find
state
for
propaganda.
$1. He bought 4 books for $1 and ended
bundle.
up with some national security secrets that he had there. And what do they reward you for that, or do they just give you an attaboy pat on the back? I feel like that's worth some compensation. Probably not in China, but I feel like that's worth some compensation. Here in America, they just be like, "Nah, yeah, we're going to throw you in jail if you don't give it to us."
Yeah.
So,
what you're actually doing?
You want to hand that to me?
Withholding state secrets is technically illegal, and we can also, I don't know, we can stick the IRS on you.
Yeah, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, call it good.
Damn,
it's like the guy that.
How's anybody make a buck these days?
It's like when you hear about somebody finding like $10,000 in cash and they turned it into the police, and I'm like, Did they?
Yeah, because they found $20,000 worth of cash.
There you go. That's weird. I could have swore there was 25 that was stolen from that
Yeah.
bank. Nah, I only found 10, man.
No, they must have ran off with the other. I
15,
think I
yeah.
saw a guy with his pockets full of money. He was running away, but that's what I did find here.
And I may or may not have tried to pin that on my mailman.
Yeah. Now,
Walk across my grass.
so we see these, like you see the videos of like the Brinks truck, like this happened in Florida a handful of years ago. Brinks truck crashed.
crashes, the cash goes out,
money goes
yeah.
everywhere, and everybody's just like, it's like one of those wind machines that has $1 bills. They're all just stuffing them in their shirt and waddling off. That's still their money, right? Like, what is the legal,
technically,
like the legal precedent? Because finders versus keepers
is
precedent. Possession is 9/10
9/10
of the law.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Which 9/10 more than 1/10.
Yes.
Still, mathematically. That stuff's always a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you can really track it. I think the last time it happened, it was actually in California. I think it happened like 3 years ago in California, if I remember right. But yeah, it's
just looking for.
Think about the impact necessary to break open a bank truck.
I mean, maybe they just didn't shut the door.
That's probably the more likely.
Yeah, I think that they just weren't secure.
All right.
Yeah,
that's fair. All right, coming up next, one of the more prolific college coaches is making a move back to the pros. Danny Dusty, Danny the Fan. Hey, remember David Shaw?
I do.
Remember
Quite well.
when he was a head coach?
Yeah, at Stanford. He did a really damn good job there, and then saw the writing on the wall and was like, I ain't doing this anymore.
I remember our interview with him down at Pac-12 Media Days, and that man was like, he just kind of looked around the room and went, yeah, I'm not long for this. There was a real calm and peace, and he also said he wasn't worried about where Stanford was going to end up.
No, he was frustrated with the state of college football, and everybody knew where the Pac-12 was headed towards, and that was irrelevance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think David Shaw, he is such a smart dude, and he did such an incredible job of sustaining what he and Jim Harbaugh built at Stanford previously, that to make that hill even harder to climb, that was something that I couldn't imagine what was going through his head as he saw every single nick in the Pac-12's armor start to show and really start to just fall apart. And so him stepping away was not surprising in the least. I think Troy Taylor's going to do a good job there at Stanford. He is.
Yeah, no, you were a big proponent of him even before he coached the game there.
I'm a huge fan of Troy Taylor. I think he is he understands what it takes to win at a program like Stanford. He has done a phenomenal job of bringing in guys that, if we're being quite honest, they're not the prototypical Stanford type guys. And you have such a small pond to fish in when you have to get the academically eligible guys and then develop them. And it's going to take a year or two, but the framework is there for him to be successful at Stanford. But successful at Stanford should not be what we thought of as Jim Harbaugh and David Shaw Stanford. Successful at Stanford should be every 4 or 5 years you make a run, instead of being consistently one of the top programs in any conference. Now in the ACC, especially if Florida State and Clemson get their way and they're out of the ACC, maybe there is that opening to where Stanford is considered a top 3 program in a conference. But the reality of it is middle of the pack, and then you pop on those special years. Mm-hmm. That's the lot in life for most college football programs, and I think he could do that at Stanford.
Yeah, for sure. The interesting thing about Shaw is, according to the Denver Post, he's basically been trying to find his way back in the NFL after he missed out on some head coaching jobs.
Yep.
And the Broncos, Shaw leveraged the hell out of this position, clearly, because he's got a senior personnel job where he's not really around the team. He's staying in the Bay. Yeah, he's not relocating to Denver.
And I think this is kind of the misnomer with a lot of executive positions around professional sports, is that there's a lot of execs that don't live in the cities that they manage teams from. Mm-hmm. And it's not your GM like George Payton in Denver. He's going to be in Denver, obviously. Joe Cronin's obviously going to live in Portland. But the ancillary roles where you don't have to be in on the day-to-day, you are a consultant and analyst and basically giving your input. Also, multi-billion-dollar leagues, they can afford to fly you in
back and forth
from game day or be regionalized to where if he's living in the Bay Area, can go down to L.A., can go to Vegas very easily out of the Bay Area.
Also, it's kind of a nice thing to have somebody who's not in the building.
I think there is value to that, because it gives you, especially if you have a guy who is as smart and articulate as David Shaw is, and a critical thinker in the ways that he is not in the day-to-day where relationships can muddy a lot of the decision-making that should happen. Look, I think that there's a lot of holes that the Denver Broncos organization has. Bringing in guys like David Shaw, super smart. I think his career is going to be as an executive moving forward, and he's going to be a pretty damn good executive, because he is very similar to John Lynch in that, Stanford guys, but football guys through and through, who can evaluate the football decisions, but also are smart enough to navigate the waters of whether it's a collective bargaining agreement or the personalities. Because here's where a lot of football guys, they spin their tires in the mud, is that they don't understand the disconnect between the executive and just the football guy,
Yes.
right? And that's where Bill Belichick really he started crashing down as the GM and head coach of the Patriots. Is that he did not have the ability to be the executive and connect with every executive. He used I'm the greatest damn coach in the NFL in pro football's history. I'm Bill Belichick. Like, I know what I'm doing.
You can't check me.
John Lynch, the beauty of John Lynch is that he can navigate both of those waters very easily because of
As a
how
former high-level
intelligent he is. It's a ridiculously hard thing to do, and John Elway did a pretty dang good job of it outside of the inability to find and draft a quarterback because he was too close to the situation. And that is the being able to separate yourself from, for Elway, it was me, the player, who I am as a player and what I look for in a quarterback, and being the executive.
And real quick, just to kind of put a bow on this and come full circle, where did John Lynch go to college?
Stanford.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
all right.
Stanford and David Just, Stanford and John Elway, also Stanford.
Ah, there it is. Picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
All right, coming up next here in hour number 3, we will keep it in the college football world, taking a look at where the Ducks and Buckeyes rank in the pantheon of position groups and how impactful they can be.
Ooh, Pro Football Focus.
Hour number 3 here on Danny and Dusty, 10 the Fan. 3 here on a Friday afternoon in wonderful Portland, Oregon. I believe it's about 85. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
do a quick weather update here. I always want to do one of these, you know,
Sure.
that's why I sneak them in. 86 degrees now. It's supposed to get up to 88 today. A nice little sultry 74 for Jeff Russ this weekend.
Look, spring
Perfect.
6.3 will come through for us, even though the official start of summer is today.
Today, right?
Today, the official start of summer. Happy summer, everybody.
Just so we're clear,
Round of applause.
not this Sunday, but next Sunday, according to my weather app. Do you know what the high is?
No.
90.
All right.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Which means we're getting closer to the golf tournament, which means it's going to be warm out there.
Again, I will not. I think spring 6.3 will come.
You think for the golf tournament?
No,
Okay.
but the July 11th we're in sunny season. But there will be a time.
You think we're going to have a wet 4th?
We could. Who knows? It's Oregon.
You
Anything is in play.
You would put it out there.
I'm just hey, I just want to be honest with the people.
All right.
I just want to be honest.
Well, whether you're listening on 1080 AM, watching along on youtube.com/1080 the fam, or twitch.tv/1080 the fam, we appreciate you. We love you.
You're going radio guy voice.
Look at that.
Oh,
Yeah, you like that?
yeah.
I was saying, I was doing a
Yeah,
weather.
we
I
have
was doing a
or
weather
at
report.
2:30.
I was doing a weather report, so there you go.
Yeah. We don't have or.
We
at
don't have
2:30.
or at 2:30.
We don't have or.
It's okay.
at
I've got-
Sorry,
it's
complete
okay.
brain fart on
No,
my
it's okay.
part.
It's okay.
It's been a weird week.
I forgot it was Friday too, so it's okay. But it is that time of year now where it is time to talk about some college football.
Yeah. I mean, look.
It's coming fast. You know, I saw somebody said the first game is now like 67 days away, and I was like,
Yeah.
What? How?
I think we are right around. I think it's 71 or 72 days until the Ducks kick off the season. But we have 0 week this.
Yeah, we
this
have.
year.
Well, none of that. We have like a weird 0 week. We have like a Wednesday 0 week. Is that one of the London games?
I have no idea. I don't think Dublin maybe.
Dublin. I'm sorry. Yeah,
We're playing in Dublin this year.
they're over there like dumb early.
I like it. The closer football season is, the better my heart feels.
Is that
And
true?
Oh yeah.
Does it
baby.
warm the cockles of your heart?
Oh, so much.
So much cockle.
The first game is August 24th. We get Florida State, Georgia Tech, because who doesn't want to see the Seminoles play the Yellow Jackets in Dublin?
The Ramblin' Wreck.
My goodness. Yeah, and that is closer than we think. Delaware
that's what I'm
State
saying,
plays
like, it's
Hawaii that
super
day.
soon.
Montana State plays New Mexico, and SMU, Nevada.
You said August 24th?
Yeah, August 24th is our 0 week matchups. Florida State 13.5-point favorites. But as we get closer and closer,
64 days.
Look, we are about a month out from Big Ten Media Days, and I think we're like 36 days away from 35 days away from Big Ten Media Days in Indianapolis, which is a weird thing. Indianapolis, which just hosts the U.S. Olympic swimming trials at Lucas Oil Stadium, will then have Big Ten Media Days in a month.
Have we convinced
They
the
put a
bosses
pool
to
in there.
send us out
No,
there yet?
no.
No?
Mm-mm.
I gotta break somebody's arm for that.
You're not going. I'm not going. But we are going to be present at Big Ten Media Days.
Of course we are.
Yeah, somebody will be there.
Somebody will be there.
Somebody's got to be there. But they don't trust you in Indianapolis. I read that. It was a company document that was
Wow.
released. I bought it at a swap meet
There you go.
for $1.
An Odyssey station.
It was like, Danny can't go to
For $1, it
Indianapolis.
does sound about right.
Yeah, but as we get closer and closer with spring balls wrapped up, all the portal acquisitions are done. You sit there and you start looking at we talked about this a couple weeks ago with CBS Sports did their positional group rankings of across the board, went position by position. Pro Football Focus has just wrapped up their position groups and the top 10 at each position across the country. And it's incredible to see we've all talked about the consolidation of power, right, in college football. And you see the usual suspects as you go through almost every position group. But I think the big change that we have seen is every single position group except for linebacker, Pro Football Focus has Oregon as a top 10 unit at every single position in all of college football, a top 10 group. We've talked about the recruiting. We've talked about the development of Dan Lanning in their staff and what they've been able to do, whether it is recruiting high school talent at a high level, acquisition through the transfer portal at a really high level. You've seen, though, stacking depth, and it started with Mario Cristobal, and it has continued with Dan Lanning. the depth of talent at Oregon, I think, is where this team is different than anything that we've seen come through Oregon, because even in their 2 trips to the national title games, it has been a development of talent and having some guys that are overlooked in the recruiting process that they squeezed the most out of, and had an offense that they squeezed the most out of. Now you're looking at a system with Chip Kelly that you were able to maximize your talent and mask a lot of the deficiencies of it. What you're seeing now with this Oregon program is that they've been able to stack recruiting classes on top of each other, build depth, and it's high-level talent that now you got to put it together all out on the field. But the talent is there across the board, and especially when you look at the multiple outlets that are putting together these types of lists. For sure, you're seeing it top to bottom.
And we'll dive into the lists for Oregon and Ohio State, 2 of the Big Ten and national powers as projected by those teams, as well as hear from a former Ohio State coach on what he thinks. Actually, yeah, you're right. 2 former Ohio State coaches, what they think Ohio and how Ohio State stacks up and what it means for head coach Ryan Day. Danny and Dusty, 10 the Fan. Pro Football Focus is releasing their position groups ratings for offense and defense. The Oregon Ducks are rated in the top 10 in every category but one, linebacker.
Yep.
Coming in the top 5 in the wide receiver position, quarterback position, offensive line, and defensive back.
And all of those make sense when you look at, I think this, and I've been praising the receiver room since the beginning of spring ball. When you go down there, you look at the viable targets and the guys that they feel comfortable with at wide receiver. And you got to throw tight end in there as well with the way that they use them, from, Evan Stewart, the Texas A&M transfer, who is living up to all of the hype and all of the build as being the dude on the outside, a game-breaking wide receiver that any questions that he had about his fit and, character after Texas A&M, they have gone away with his time at Oregon, where everybody's just raving about him being a locker room guy as well. And then you have Tez Johnson, who returns for his super senior year after an incredible year last year with Bo Nix. And then with Trayshawn Holden, Gary Bryant Jr., that room is very loaded. And then there's guys that aren't getting a lot of the hype that I think we will see a lot of, whether it's Kyler Casper or Justice Lowe, who had a really good spring, and then Gary Bryant Jr. But the tight end room as well, with Terrence Ferguson, the name that everybody knows, and Patrick Herbert, if he can stay healthy, is going to be a viable target on the outside. But Kenyon Sadiq, the sophomore from Idaho, that guy put together a spring that he is going to have a special year as a blocker and a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He made some plays throughout the spring that you just eye-popping. And so Pro Football Focus has them as the number 1 receiver room in the country this year. You can see why. At quarterback, with not just Dylan Gabriel coming in from Oklahoma, I still do, and I've said this before, it will be interesting to see the mastery of the offense that Dylan Gabriel could have, because we saw Bo Nix and just comfortability with your wide receivers and the conceptually what you are trying to do. The familiarity he has with a lot of the concepts that they ran at Central Florida and then at Oklahoma with Will Stein's offense, it shouldn't be too big of a learning curve. But you see with mastery of offense, the jump that Bo Nix took from year 1 to year 2.
Yeah.
You only have 1 year with Dylan Gabriel, but what is behind him is, I think, getting people excited as well. Dante Moore transferring up from UCLA. And then, obviously, I could not speak more highly of Austin Novosad.
You
was
mentioned
impressive.
him a ton off air as far as how he looked and his command and his feel and just his growth within the system.
He will be he's going to be really damn good. He looks different, and you see the year 1 to year 2, his knowledge of what they're trying to do. It was impressive during the spring. But they have the number 2 quarterback room in the country, according to Pro Football Focus. But I think that is, obviously, it's heavily skewed to Dylan Gabriel and Dante Moore, and having a 1-2 punch that you have there. The defensive backs and the offensive line both rated 5th in the country. Transfer portal was huge for the defensive back room. When you look at guys like Jabbar Muhammad, Cam Alexander, transfers from Washington and UT San Antonio, respectively. Kobe Savage, the Kansas State transfer that came in during the spring. Left spring game early with an injury, but the defensive back room, you have Tysheem Johnson returning this year along with Nico Reed. That room is going to be a solid one. And the offensive line, this has just kind of been that slow build.
Yeah, that one, the 100% makes sense to me. I don't know if I truly buy into the number 1 wide receiver room in the country. And this is not a slight to Oregon at all. When I think of number 1 wide receiver room, I think of Ohio State. I think of Washington and the absolute monsters they had at the top. The depth Oregon definitely has.
The top end talent with Evan Stewart.
You think that's reminiscent of Marvin Harrison Jr., Rome Odunze?
No, but I think that if you look around the room, if you look around the entire country, it is not Ohio State. They are stacked everywhere.
Every position, which we'll get to here in a minute.
But what they are going through is you graduate 2 of your top receivers. That changes.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Igbuka is going to have to be the number 1 guy. The guy, a product of Steilacoom up in Tacoma area. He's the best receiver in college football right now. And I think that if you look at depth and then the high end talent, where Tez Johnson is a known now. Evan Stewart is a known, and the production is going to be there. But I think that it is the depth and the weapons that are – the one thing Oregon's receiver room has that is different this year than it has been before, and I think this is where maybe you get that bump up, as well as they can match up with a litany of defenses. If you want to go speed, they've got speed. If you want to go size, they can get you with size. They can use personnel groupings this year where you can roll out in 12 personnel with 1 back and 2 tight ends, but then you can motion out and you'll be an empty. And you will have to have a defense on the field that has to respect a 12 personnel grouping with Terrence Ferguson, Kenyon Sadiq, or Patrick Herbert at the other tight end and a running back. But then all of a sudden you can shift out of that and you have receiving backs that have proven themselves, whether it is Noah Whittington or Jordan James at the end of the year, was a more than viable receiving target. It's the way that they'll be able to use their receiver groupings and put defenses in binds. I think that truly is. That's different this year than what we've seen in the past from Oregon. But I'm with you that there is going to be all right, let's see him put it all together, right? And we don't know, and it seems unfamiliar because it's usually the same usual suspects as the number 1 receiver groups, whether it's Ohio State, USC, Alabama, Texas. They have all been the usual suspects. This is a little bit different, and the transfer portal has been huge for that with Oregon.
And again, my pushback isn't that it's not a very good receiver room. It's that number 1 guy, typically when you have the number 1 receiver room in the country, you have a dude who is a dude amongst dudes that you go, yeah, he's going top 5, top 6 in the NFL draft, like unequivocally.
I think what you will see is Evan Stewart will be getting a lot of hype coming around.
You think he'll make that swing into that kind of group?
He makes.
I mean, he was an incredibly high-level recruit, big body, like all the stuff that he has all the makings and trimmings of being that guy.
The wheels fell off at Texas A&M last year.
He's not the only one that happened to.
I think, and then you look at the defensive line room. Defensive line was a question for Oregon heading into this season, where the depth is. The fact is that Jamari Caldwell, the transfer from Houston, they get a transfer from Michigan State late in the portal process. The defensive line room being ranked 10th in the country, that is the one that surprised me a little bit because of the fact that there were holes and questions when you come in, whether it is, you're having to replace Popo and Casey Rogers in the middle. You had big Brandon Dorless on the outside. You have got, and the versatility of Dorless, being able to jump him inside to outside. I think that was a little bit more of the surprise for me in looking at this group, is that the defensive line group being ranked in the top 10, when the reality of it is that, Oregon, you'll look at it and you'll be like, most people say, 4-2-5, right? You're going to basically mostly nickel hybrid package, right? But they've moved a lot of the outside linebackers and put them and thrust them kind of into defensive end roles, right? Where your defensive ends are going to be really damn good. Jordan Birch returns after, he got dinged up a couple of times. Elijah Rushing, who's at the other defensive end, the 5-star pass rusher, looks like an absolute monster of a human being on the outside there. But then you also look at guys like that jack linebacker position, where Mateo Uyunglele and Tatum Tuioti will be at that jack linebacker, essentially playing a defensive end-esque position. Not ranked. The only position group Oregon did not have ranked in this Pro Football Focus in the top 10 was linebacker. And it is not in the traditional sense, and it's okay not to have them in a top 10 because it's not the traditional linebacker position group as we know it, right? There's not a bunch of like NFL ready-made dudes that are sitting there. But what they have is Jeffrey Bassa, Fiesta Bowl MVP, who is a 53 and a third guy, where he can play sideline to sideline and stretch plays out. They also have Justin Jacobs, who once he got healthy and was in the mix, was a force, and he can play more of gap fit linebacker there, along with Jerry Mixon. And then you have Bryce Betcher, who was not there in the spring. I think linebacker's gonna be a solid position.
Why wasn't he there in
the
spring, Dustin?
Because he was winning a gold glove on the baseball field. Which is so crazy.
That's such a weird thing for a linebacker to be an outfielder.
Right?
First base, third base, bigger, a little fluidity. But linebacker playing outfield?
Linebacker is, and we saw his flashes at linebacker. He started to become more comfortable. He had one of the more memorable plays in my mind in that Texas Tech game was when, he had the forced fumble coming off the edge, and he was stacked in the middle, and he was in the B gap, and then he looped around and made an incredible play against Texas Tech. I think linebacker, it will be seen as a weakness on this team, but the guys that they have there, if they stay healthy, plenty of room for development. This Oregon team, it rightfully has a lot of hype around it because of the talent that they have brought in. Now it is going to the Big Ten, and if you look at the Pro Football Focus makeups, it is littered across the board with Big Ten teams. Whether it's Ohio State, where every single category they have a top 10 unit. Michigan, they may have lost 18 guys in the NFL draft.
They reload.
They are going to be, where they are strong, they are going to be insanely strong.
I mean, hell, and then look at even a team like Iowa, whose entire defense is showing up on the list.
Yes, they're almost in every single category.
Not a single thing on offense.
Wisconsin is also in that boat where their secondary, like it is, there's going to be tests across the board. Penn State is littered across this, whether it's at wide receiver, defensive back, linebackers. The Big Ten is
loaded
week in and week out. The thing is, Oregon has Wisconsin. They've got Ohio State. They have Michigan. All three of those teams are going to be on there. You're going to see those tests
will be had.
Through. I mean, it will be. And look, Wisconsin's quarterback room is on this list because you have Phil Longo, he's a hybrid air raid type guy. It's still Wisconsin football, but it's not.
They'll find a way to get you a little. It's a spicy Wisconsin.
It's not Ron Dane back there, but they're gonna whip the ball around the field, and they've shifted, and they are talented offensively. It's gonna be really fun to kind of see. But as I was looking through all of these position group rankings, it's impossible to ignore Ohio State. I said this when I watched their spring game. It's the most talented team I saw all spring in college football. Period.
We'll get back to the Ohio State stuff, but I want to make sure we make some time for what happened at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama yesterday as the St. Louis Cardinals took on the San Francisco Giants. But that was the thing that mattered the least as Major League Baseball makes a return to its Negro League history. We'll get to that and more coming up here first. But here's the Big Kahuna with the Sports Center update.
Hamburgers, the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air, serving Portland, Southwest Washington, and the Gorge. Online at aneheatingandcooling.com. It's hard to stop a train. First on the Fan, Mariners dropped 2 of 3 to the Guardians. They're now on to Miami for a 3-game set with the Marlins. George Kirby starting for Seattle, opposite Trevor Rogers for Miami. 4:10 first pitch on Root Sports and ESPN+. The Mariners hold an 8-game lead over the Astros in the AL West. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reporting Sun Center Drew Eubanks, the Shack of Troutdale, declining his $2.6 million player option and will become a free agent. ESPN's Pete Thamel reporting Oklahoma and head coach Brent Venables have agreed to a new 6-year deal that includes a significant raise and 2 additional seasons. On the ice, the Oilers looking to become just the 5th team to force a Game 7 after going down 3-0 in the series, hosting the Panthers. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 4:30. The puck drops at 5 o'clock on ABC. And round 2 of the Travelers Championship from TPC River Highlands. Tom Kim is your leader at 13 under par. Colin Morikawa and Akshay Bhatia are 2 strokes back at 11 under. Xander Schauffele, Scotty Scheffler, 10 under par. Tony Finau, 8 under. Ricky Fowler, 7 under. And former Oregon Duck Wyndham Clark is at 6 under par. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Hot Corner, now in its new time. Tuesdays at 7 after Isaac and Sue on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
All of Major League Baseball descended on Birmingham, Alabama yesterday as the San Francisco Cardinals faced off against the San Francisco Giants faced off against the St. Louis Cardinals in a throwback game honoring the history of the Negro Leagues and the integration of the African Americans into baseball. The baseball itself was fun. I mean, my Redbirds won, which is always good. But more importantly were the pregame festivities surrounding Willie Mays and Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr. Barry Bonds, the godson of Willie Mays. Willie Mays' number being out on the field with his passing just recently. The emotions that kind of fed into that. But even more than that was Reggie Jackson on the Fox desk being asked about his early times and the integration of black players into baseball and how the impact of his teammates and his managers staved off some of the nastiest racism that existed at that time.
Alex, when people ask me a question like that, it's like coming back here is not easy. The racism that I played here, when I played here, the difficulty of going through different places where we traveled. Fortunately, I had a manager and I had players on the team that helped me get through it. But I wouldn't wish it on anybody. People said to me today, I spoke, and they said, you think you're a better person? You think you won when you played here in Concord? I said, I would never want to do it again. I walked into restaurants and they would point at me and said, "The nigger can't eat here." I would go to a hotel and they said, "The nigger can't stay here." We went to Charlie Finley's country club for a welcome home dinner and they pointed me out with the N-word. He can't come in here. Finley marched the whole team out. Finally, they let me in there. He said, "We're going to go to the diner and eat hamburgers. We'll go where we're wanted." Fortunately, I had a manager, Johnny McNamara, that if I couldn't eat in the place, nobody would eat. We'd get food to travel. If I couldn't stay in a hotel, they'd drive to the next hotel and find a place where I could stay. Had it not been for Raleigh Fingers, Johnny McNamara, Dave Duncan, Joe and Sharon Rudy, I slept on their couch 3-4 nights a week for about a month and a half. Finally, they were threatened that they would burn our apartment complex down unless I got out. I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
Glad 2 minutes from Reggie Jackson.
I mean, what Reggie Jackson went through, and we think of like baseball and the integration. It's like Jackie Robinson was the one who everybody was like, he was the face of. And he took all the brunt of the race. No, it went on for decades after the integration of Major League Baseball. And it absolutely still does go on. But Birmingham, it had an even, more in being Rickwood Stadium in Birmingham, Alabama, where this was played. It's where the Birmingham Barons played. We know that. Michael Jordan played there, but
the
Willie
Black
Mays.
Barons and the White Barons.
They had the Black Barons and the White Barons. And think of this, I was watching the lead up and on Wednesday, and they were commemorating the life of Willie Mays, who played for the Birmingham Black Barons. And as part of like the vignette kind of outlining what it was like there. So the White Barons would play when they were at home, the Black Barons would be on the road and vice versa, right? They had a play-by-play announcer named Bull Connor who ended up fighting the civil rights movement. He was the play-by-play announcer for the Barons baseball team. He was the public safety officer in Birmingham, Alabama, and would use racial terms for black fans were only allowed to sit in the bleachers on the right field side of the field, and he would call it the coal bin when a home run would be hit over there, because that's where black fans sat.
Yeah,
it was. You think about that. Like you have a
it wasn't
team
like it wasn't
playing in
hiding
this
it.
stadium. It was
it was front and center.
It was not even hiding in plain sight. It was in your face racism that they faced. day in and day out. And you hear guys like Reggie Jackson and Willie Mays, and we think of them for their great careers and the great personalities that they brought to the on and off the field as well. And I sit there and I hear the stories that are being relayed from Willie Mays' time there, or you hear Reggie Jackson right there, and you're like, I can't believe they still had the charisma, the personality, and the love for the game of baseball the way that they did after even going through everything that they were going through in Birmingham and when they got to the big leagues as well. It's heartbreaking, and also at the same time you sit there and you look at it and
it's a poignant reminder.
The character of those guys.
Not only that, we're not that far removed from
no,
not even just the civil rights movement, but I mean, we weren't on air on Wednesday because it was Juneteenth, marking the celebration of emancipation of slavery. Like, generationally, we're not that far removed from that stuff.
Oh, goodness, no.
And I'm not saying that we're still, doing slavery in this country. For everybody, chill. We're better than we were. We still have a long way to go.
Do we have a long way to go?
But it serves a good purpose and a good reminder to have somebody like Reggie Jackson who doesn't sugarcoat it. And I saw Howard Bryant say every time Howard Bryant, former of ESPN Sports Illustrated, say every time that ESPN tries to make the history of black players a Disney movie, Reggie Jackson goes viral.
Right.
Because and this thing is like, as much as we don't want to hear about all our faults as a nation or as people, it serves as a reminder. You can't just sit here and Disney movie everything.
It's important that we hear it.
Because the old adage, if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Yep.
That's the reality.
100%.
The unfortunate thing is that following Reggie Jackson and its impassioned storytelling and reminder is that the game featuring the San Francisco Giants and St. Louis Cardinals featured one black player in Mason Wynn. That's such a and I don't think it's an issue as it pertains to necessarily racism or access to the game per se, but it just baseball doesn't resonate with that really even strongly an American community as it's become more of an international game both in Central America and Latin America and in Asia. It's become more dominated by outside of America than in America, both white and black players.
And I think there is an element of access to the game, and I think that goes beyond racial divides and it goes into socioeconomic divides of the game of baseball at the high levels and even youth.
The travel
is
teams.
So damn expensive and so hard to get into and maintain that a lot of really talented baseball players don't get the opportunities because of how much the damn sport costs to play and travel and all of that
Which
stuff.
It should be one of the cheapest. It was like, well, everybody needs a bat. I'm like, look, man, everybody can use the same bat. We all grew up as kids where you had 2 bats, 3 bats on the whole team.
It's crazy. But everybody needs their own bat. Everybody needs their own helmet.
Yeah.
Everybody has to have their arm sleeves.
Their arm sleeves, leg protectors, arm protectors, sliding gloves, sunglasses.
We're going through this because my daughter plays on a competitive soccer team. It's like $400 just for the uniform. Just for the uniforms now.
Think about that for a second.
We're playing soccer.
That uniform costs $400, but I can go get a game worn signed NBA jersey for the same price.
Exactly.
A professional jersey.
But it's like it's not. You don't have to just get the one uniform anymore. You have to get 3 different
sets,
kits, and then you have a practice kit and all the socks, and then the backpack and the travel gear. It's like, okay.
The other one is like the multiple sets of cleats.
Weeding people out.
I'm like, man, you get a pair of cleats and you wore them for every sport. You know what I mean? Right. Your football cleats were also your baseball cleats. So if you're a high top guy, make sure you really understand. It was weird. It was the only time in my life that I was ever a low top guy is I wore the Terrell Davis. Do you remember the Terrell Davis cleats, the lows?
Yeah.
The kangaroo leather TD Zooms. That's what I wore. And so I would wear those for both football and baseball.
Just big TD guy.
which is weird as a Raiders fan, but I love those cleats. All right, coming up, we will put a little bow on the show. Maybe we'll go back to the Ohio State stuff, but I think I have a feeling we'll find something else to dive into. Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan. It's a PSA as we head into the weekend before the NBA draft. Pay attention to sources. Don't assume that everything that you read on the internet is in fact true. Fake accounts for
Like a who pipe with an eye?
yeah, exactly. Fake Woj accounts, fake Jake Fisher accounts, fake Mark Stein accounts, fake everyone accounts that exist across the board. We had folks in the YouTube comments saying, "What about this deal between Portland and Dallas?" There's nothing happening between Portland and Dallas right now.
No, we're not getting Luka?
No.
Not getting Kyrie?
Even if they wanted to trade for, because they've been linked to Jeremy Grant and Matisse Thybulle in the past, they legally can't trade for Matisse because they matched his RFA offer. They can't do that until I think July, is it 7th? I think is when he signed the contract. So it's a calendar year until then. So they can't make that deal until then. No, they may have some impermissible contact, but if you get caught tampering right now, you were in trouble. So if they were having a trade discussion, it would probably be around Jeremy Grant, which I don't see anything that the Dallas Mavericks have that would make sense for Jeremy Grant. So there you go.
From a salary standpoint,